There we go. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? Currently got SPX contracts up July 18th at the money. Positions are roughly... we'll see. We'll see. All right, green candle here to pump into the earnings. We got 30, or to the open, we have 30 seconds. I'll be looking potentially to take some plays in the big tech stocks as we run up in earnings. More so, look at Tesla. Tesla's volatility will start building going into Wednesday because they're the closest one. And then, of course, next week we'll have, we got the Google split coming along and then all the big tech earnings. So keep a look. I might play more contracts on tech this week than normal, especially if SPX is going to chop. I'll take advantage of some movement on the tech stocks. And we got 3 seconds. Y'all good luck and play safe. Green. All right, out of the gate, Apple's red. Amazon's red, Tesla's red. Let me get the chart squared away here on NASDAQ. For some reason that moved. VIX is now under 25 still, 24.94, not really moving all that much. And we have red candles across the board. Apple is dropping like it's hot. Amazon's 114.98. And then red candles. The Kramer effect, yeah. So Kramer just opened the market. XLF is very green. Very green. Looking at 3,900 calls to start the day off here. If I go with puts, I'll go in 3880s. 3885, how about that? But right now, 3,900s as everything is starting to flip green-eroni. And we'll see what happens. Keep an eye on things. Keep things frosty. Red candle here on Amazon. Red candle on Apple. Red candle on Tesla. XLF financial sector, very green. So this is one of those things. Where does the market rotate? Does XLF come back down? Or does tech rotate back up? Because there's a lot of bottom wicks here on tech. So if we can get that correlation with tech and financials, then we'll have a little green pop back up to 3,900 here to start the day off. So we'll see. in a call right there. Boom. As everything has rotated up. 3,900 call on SPX for a scalp. Maybe even, hopefully, we can get a pop up back to 3,900 here. As now tech and Apple and Tesla and all are climbing nicely. So Bookmap has got resistance at 39.10 and 38.90. And let's come back up here. I'll bring that up. I'm up 6% on these calls. And I will keep an eye on things here. So I'm seeing Apple bottom wick big time. Look at Apple. That was a huge bottom wick and rotate back up. And we've got, ooh, there's a big old pop. Even bigger pop, 3,900. All right, so we're back over 3,900. And seeing if we can get on higher. Oh, and they just smashed it. All right, so I was up 19%. Now I'm only up 1%. I might get out of these. I don't like that volatility. Oh, no, we're back up again. What is going on with this candle? This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. All right, let me get that brought up. I had to refresh the hero indicator. All right, 3,900.00, 3,901. So we're briefly back above 3,900, and I'm going to take that right there. Let's see, 1310. Bring this up. Close. 1330. Can I get a 1420 fill out of this thing? Now we're still going. Hey, all right, come on. A lot of volatility. All right, SPY. I'm bringing up the hero indicator. Had to refresh. Maximize. So nothing's going on. All the deltas are pretty much flat right now, but the market just opened. We need to see how this is going to build. Going to see how this thing is going to build. Alrighty. Got some green up against 39.04, 39.03. How about long VIX dated calls? Not yet. Soon. Not yet. I tried to get a fill at $15 on those 3900s. I couldn't get a fill. I think they got the 30 or the 1490. But I try to get out there. So nice green on XLF. Financials are very green, and tech was nice and green. Oh, they just smashed that candle. Man, a lot of volatility here. A lot of volatility. That's unfortunate. I missed a fill by 10 cents, and now the position just went red by 1%. What up, YouTube? How's it going? Yeah, so the name of the game this week is playing levels. Playing levels. We're right here. We're stuck on R1. NASDAQ is right back to where they opened pretty much. And then the VIX is coming off the 2440, and dropping. So, nice, Victoria. Well done. Well done. Yeah. That stuff right there is why. So I took that position off the table, 3% loss, which is unfortunate considering I was up about 25%, but I couldn't get a fill. But morning volatility, morning volatility. XLF is green. Nice, Damien, 2.96. I missed a fill by 10 cents. By 10 cents. And that's what it gets you. Tesla's still green, so like I said, keep an eye on Tesla. Keep an eye on Tesla because we have earnings coming up on Wednesday. You're going to see a lot more volatility in Tesla. We're not sure what's going to happen. Are they going to drop? Are they going to pop? Everybody have a good weekend? Do anything fun? Awesome weekend. Good, good. Thoughts on playing the IV run up into earnings? Well, the IV is going to pump because you've got not only earnings, but you've got FOMC next week. So watch the IV start to pump across not only tech stocks but the S&P as well going into the end of the week and then next week. In fact, noting the IV at the moment, we are currently looking at 33%, which is great. That's actually a little bit cheap, so that's good. And watch that pump into next week. Oh, nice, Trippy. Well done. Whitewater rafting, my new NRS. Very cool. Sunday night futures, good stuff. Yeah, I remember you asking about futures, Victoria. Let me know if you have any more questions. We'll talk about it. Apple's still red, Tesla's green, Amazon's red, but we have some bottom wicks here. XLF is still green. Bookmap right now has got 39.10. The overarching big one is 38.90 on the S&P on ES right now. So we have a little bit of a magnet to the south, but the larger levels, that 10 wide looks like a weekly level. This is what I want you to pay attention because XLF is turning down now. So what I want you to pay attention to is the 39.40, 39.50 level because that looks like a level that's going to be on for the week. So we'll see if that transacts today, but if you see that like tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, just know that 39.40, 39.50 is a 10 wide level from the week, and that's something that we don't want to be tricked into going for on a daily until we see things kind of head in that direction. All right, so deltas, positive and negative, aren't moving at the moment. We're just kind of flat. Big green candle. Big green aroni. We had a great weekend, man. I had cooked some fillets yesterday on the new Blackstone grill. It's good stuff. Any position you be taking? Nothing yet. I'm just letting this morning shake out. Tesla's popping. Apple's not moving. We're just kind of hanging out. After earnings, yes, Lurking Larry. After earnings, I'm going to be looking at taking some. Now, obviously, my thesis, my short-term thesis, my long-term thesis still remains intact. I think a recession is inevitable. My short-term thesis will change based on what reports next week. Not the FOMC. I'm pretty sure the FOMC is going to post 75. It's based on tech earnings. If tech earnings comes in scorched earth, then obviously we are going down. If tech earnings really beats, we're going to rally. Probably 4,300 back on the, 4,300 will come back on the docket. If things come in as expected, then we'll probably have some chop, maybe some upwards, and then, status quo. So that's really the big three things. Nice, Stu. I only had 3 pounds, but 5.25 is an awesome amount of filet. I love it. Yeah, nice seared filet. Man, you can't beat that. Big red candle, 38.95. Yeah, I'm not touching this stuff. These candles are all over the place. I'll wait for this to come out. I wouldn't call this a slow open. This is a lot of shaky candles. Hey, my system is clean. Cool. These things are all over the place. Big up to 39.04, coming down to 38.90. That's because financials are starting to round over. Big red candle, 38.91, coming down the low of the morning. And their transaction is 38.90 here on Bookmap. Yep. So we're hovering right around R1 at the moment. Nasdaq just broke through their their morning pre-market lows, that little level there, and VIX popped right back up to 24.80. So things started looking pretty strong out of the gate. XLF was bouncing. We had a lot of bottom wicks on tech, and now things are rotating down slightly. And there's a big bottom wick off of 38.90, which is right on that Bookmap level. You see that Bookmap? We bounced off that 38.90. We didn't absorb that level. So it looks like for now we're pinned between the 39.10 and 38.90 liquidity levels on Bookmap. They've got us strapped in between those two levels. And I'm just monitoring the deltas here to see if I get any kind of spike on spot gamma. Big old bottom wick. Look at that crap. Wow. In fact, positive delta just dropped off right there. So people loaded in puts for the morning. My hero indicator is in standalone with spot gamma. Morning patient purple. What's going on? What's your call for today? What you got? Tesla to the moon? Yeah, Tesla is absolutely going to the moon. Could the big Bookmap levels be used as supply demand? I would be cautious to do that because there's more to it than that. I treat it as what it is, live liquidity. It tells me it's kind of like a pushing and a pulling. Where's the market want to pull to? And in order to do that, you have to monitor where the orders are being placed. So when I see liquidity being put on and off and taken off and spoofed, you kind of get a general feel of where the market wants to go. Love my Blackstone throw. Yeah, I do love the Blackstone. Unfortunately, when they dropped it off, it was all beat to crap. It looks like someone took a baseball bat to it, and literally there were baseball-sized dents all over the grill. So other than that, I enjoy the Blackstone grill. My first one here. So big pop to 3,900 again, and we're kind of barcoding. Yeah, try out that code again. That code should work. I'll double check it. Does a hero indicator decipher whether or not a put caller is being bought or sold? No. What the hero indicator represents is the flows of delta. So when you see positive flow or negative flow, you can kind of anticipate the sentiment of the market. And that's why I use those so closely, because spot gamma, the hero indicator, gives me a side on the options chain, whereas Bookmap gives me a view on the the market itself. So it's a perfect coupling. Like, I posted that tweet on Friday. It's a great 1-2 punch between monitoring both sides of the market, and it's perfect for my style of trading because I could sit here and live monitor the liquidity and monitor the delta flow in the option chain. And if you see an overwhelmingly positive flow coming in here, you could assume that the larger money is possibly going into the upside, and then the other way around too. If you see a negative flow spiking, that play I took on Friday that ran like 130%, it was because Spot Gamma and Bookmap posted that way up higher level, and then Spot Gamma showed a huge spike in positive delta before the trade happened. So I entered the trade like 5-6 minutes before, and bam, off we went. So fantastic indicators in addition to the monitoring price action. Well, remember, that's not monitoring net delta. That's monitoring flow. So there's a difference. The market's always a new zero-sum game. Yeah, what's the IV? I haven't even looked at Netflix, but what's the IV on at the money 0D positions for Netflix or the closest expiration? Yeah, that's insane. So that's suicide. Yeah. Here, right there. So we can't break through this 3,900. That is the fifth test right here, just in this little range. We are literally back and forth, red green. XLF is dumping. Amazon is dumping. Apple bottom top wicked, and we are just hanging out, barcoding. I don't think any of this is really tradable for the moment. We're literally on the 3-minute chart. It's green, red, green, red, green, red. Now we're on a red candle, so we're back and forth. I'm telling y'all, this may be a week we don't take many trades. At least I don't. Maybe some credit spreads. I might throw on some credit spreads up higher, up and down lower. So we'll see. I'm going to wait for the first 30 or so minutes, shake out, and I might throw down some credit spreads for zeros. We'll see. AMD puts, nice. All right, Apple's green. Wait, now we're waiting on XLF. XLF was leading the pack. Now they're trailing the pack. Yeah, 3,900. Yeah, 3,900 is not there. But really, the big levels this morning had been 39.10 and 39.90. Now, they're putting on 39.20s as well. They're adding 39.20s as well as 39.15s. So here's what we got above us. Now, again, I would kind of disregard the 39.40, 39.50. Anytime I see like a 10 wide or a 5 wide or a 20 wide next to each other that's way high up, that's more like a weekly level. So, man, look at that. Another smash top wick. These are just like volatile candles. I got sick with COVID last week and was down. I missed the exit on the 722. I mean, I don't think we're going down there. I would cut it. I would cut it. It would take a major catalyst between now and the 22nd to get us down there, just because we have earnings coming up, and I don't think the market's going to move until post-earnings. And earnings, unfortunately, will be after the 22nd. So I would cut them. Yep, Kramer rang the bell. He rang the bell. So, man, this is a nutty 3-minute chart. Look at look at the last 6 or 7 candles on the 3-minute. Look at that. Literally just back and forth. Red, green, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red. No thanks. I'm good. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Now that they did pull 38.90, I mean, if we're looking at liquidity here, they're adding 39.15, they're adding 39.20. So maybe, like, my overarching theme, my expectation for this week is choppy, slightly trending upwards action. I think in a low volume environment Where there is uncertainty, the market always goes up, trends upwards. Choppy, not hard. I'm not expecting like 200-point pops here. I'm talking like a choppy upwards action. So it's sitting here instead of sitting here, banging on the table saying why are we going up in this market? That is the nature of the market. When you are in a level in uncertainty, when there's very low volume, the market is going to trickle upwards. You're not going to trickle down. You're going to trickle up. You need volume to go down. That's the problem here. Until the overall big money market participates, we're going down. My VIX right now is 24.88 or 24.77. I'm sorry. Why do you need more volume to push things down and to go up? That's just the way the market works. You need the selling volume to come in and dump shares, to dump the market downward. And you're not going to get that. On the upside, you can trickle up because on the upside, there's no sellers. And the market just buys up a little at a time, little at a time, little at a time. Go back and look what happened last week. Literally every day we gapped down and then V recovered. Gap down, V recovered. We downtrended. We sold off 200 points. But it didn't feel like it because every day we freaking V recovered. So, because it's low volume. It's all low volume stuff. Until the sellers really come in and sell that baby off, we're not going to have the 2, 3, 4% down days where we never even touch the 34 EMA, we just drop. I will tell you, in the next 2 weeks or so, I'm going to be looking at some September-ish puts on Apple. Of course, all depending on what they report on earnings. If they blast up, if they post a really good earnings, then I'll wait about a month or so to enter those things. But, yeah, we'll see. And of course, if their earnings are good, then I'll look at playing calls on all the big tech earnings. XLF came all the way back down. So, why Apple specifically? Because they have the farthest to fall. They have not felt any pain. And I think granted, everything I'm saying now is completely contingent on what they report here in a couple of days on earnings. If they post amazing earnings, then cool. Then I'll reevaluate in 2 months when the next earnings starts to approach. They haven't felt any pain. If you go back and look, they are so high, they are so elevated above pre-corona. It's like they never even experienced any drawdowns between December and now. So, and obviously, I like to look for value where value is where to be had. Not to mention they changed the revenue structure. They changed their thesis, or they changed their marketing structure on how they're going to distribute and sell phones. And they did that because of the oncoming recession. Yeah, absolutely. The market is being propped up right now because of Apple. Go back and go look at the daily charts for all the big top 5 stocks, the top 5 tech stocks, and then look at Apple. Apple is leaps and bounds more bullish than the other one. But we'll see. It all depends on their earnings reports. I think there's a lot of value in taking some long-dated puts on Apple. Yeah, Nancy sold their Apple too. Yeah, Nancy closed a lot of her Apple. XLF is dropping. Yeah, we are just kind of hanging out. It's one of those things I would rather play the weakness than expect the weakness. And we'll know. I mean, we'll know it after Apple reports. I mean, last time we had earnings, we had, Amazon drop 15%. We had all these big tech stocks that were just getting roasted, so we'll know. No, I saw she closed a lot more than that. I saw she closed over 5 million of Apple. Granted, it's past looking, but she should. She should. She'd be one of those like O.J. Simpson books. Like, if I did it, this is how I would do it. If I did commit stock fraud, this is how I'd do it. Amazon's green. Apple's coming up. Let's take a look at the hero. What do we got? Let me hit refresh here. Nothing. The flow is definitely negative at the moment, so there's more negative than positive. But we'll see. Oh yeah, they all do it. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. This is what I have for Bank of America. That's what I have for Bank of America. Man, this is literally like Christmas candles right here. Red, green, red, green. Hey, now we got some movement. Now we got some movement. Is there usually a pop when Apple releases a new phone? I think that's due to drop. I mean, unless they come out with something extravagant, I don't know. I don't know. Every time, literally, like the past couple of new iPhone releases, it's been like just a camera update, so the market hasn't responded that positively to it. Yeah. Man, look at this. I'm going to show you all the volume too. This is silly. Look at the volume and the candles. It's like a joke. It's almost like it's computer trading. It's just red and green. Just flipping back and forth, red, green. Look at the volume candles. Even the volume candles are red, green, red, green. Yeah, until we've got big earnings, until FOMC, there's too much on the horizon for us to move. There's like if you even go look at the major financial players, they're all 50-50. Half think that the recession's over, going back up. The other half think we're going to, recession's coming, we're going down to 3,000. So there's so much pushing and pulling in the market, and plus we have so much data on the horizon that's going to be like to provide clarity that we're not going to really move all that much. That's why I'm saying this may be a week for trading 0DT credit spreads, and that's it. In fact, I'm going to start doing exactly that. July 18th, 0DTE credit spreads. How high can we get? Y'all know me. I play way up. I don't like to get close. 39.40. Ooh, even 39.35s. Those are tight. Yeah, Iron Condor. Yep. All an Iron Condor is the credit spread is a put credit spread and call credit spread. I don't like to enter directly into them. I like to leg into them. So Amazon bounced hard. They're coming back down. We are just hanging out here at 3,900. Does it mean anything? The call line goes across the puts line. Yes. So what I'm seeing here on the spot gamma is that the negative flow is more than the positive flow. So what you're saying here is that the flow is going into negative delta for the time being, at least. But now it's pretty much flat. That was a couple minutes ago. Now it's leveling off here. So overall, not a lot of activity in the market today. Goldman Sachs says the bank does not see signs of credit deterioration. Yeah. They reported good earnings too. You know, their earnings, Goldman Sachs earnings hit. I mean, they blew it away. Look at Goldman Sachs earnings right here. Look at this. Brandon, is it a good idea to take an overnight strangle position on earnings? I would not do it on earnings. Unless it's in an environment where we have massive moves, yeah. But if you're looking at one of the meme stocks or the WSB stocks, absolutely not. You'll get destroyed. You'll get destroyed. I took a strangle on Dick's Sporting Goods, and it had like insane IV, and the stock, Dick's Sporting Goods stock price dropped 10%. They dropped 10%, and the strangle was still like it opened down 50%. The strangle did. So IV crushed it. You cannot overcome IV on those meme stocks when playing that stuff. It's just ridiculous. All right, and the big red candle bottom wicked, and right back to the status quo. Yeah, it was down 10%. It actually went green on the day. I remember that. It was terrible. So, looking at liquidity here on Bookmap. Look at that. They just bottom wick that. Going back up to 39.10. This is nasty. Love you too, Balancy. Can you hold me accountable to that trade when I'm on the Discord? Yeah. I mean, I'm not trading this. I'm not sitting here just like trying to, snipe entries here. Every bit of this so far is low confidence. Every bit of it. So if you're trading this, I don't want to hear you complaining about getting chopped up and losing, because this is all low confidence. Literally, I mean, look every day, every candle since 9:30, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. They're alternating. This is the epitome of untradeable chop. This is if you were to Google, okay, because you kids don't know what a dictionary or an encyclopedia is anymore, but if you were to Google choppy trading, this would come up. This would be a textbook answer. So, I guess Wikipedia now, if you could Wikipedia choppy trading, this would be the picture on it. Terrible. And this is what I expect this week. So this would be a great week for teaching. This would be a great week for asking questions and learning and doing some like live segments throughout this week. And I would probably look to play plays in individual tech stocks this week instead of just S&P. S&P might be a little flat this week to trade, so maybe this week we'll switch over to individual tech stocks. Can you talk about how to pick strikes, spreads, etc. for credit spreads? Yeah, absolutely. Not yet, Mike. I'll post that one. I'll post that one. So, yeah, I'm going to give it about another 10 minutes here, and I'm going to look at spreads. So when I'm looking for credit spreads here, what I like to do in a high volatility period that I don't necessarily trust, I look for about $1 to $1.50 on the credits. I'm not looking to go crazy. I don't want $2, $3, $4 credits. That's too close. I want to play about $1. And then, once I kind of zoom in and find those strikes, I decide, am I going to do a 25 wide or a 20 or a 30 wide, somewhere in that range. And then, I'll take that information and I'll go into my charts and look at the SR levels and I'll look at all the data and say, hey, what has the greatest propensity for this to actually go in the money or be challenged? Or what's the biggest risk? Downside, upside, whatever it is. And if I think the risk is to the upside, then I will consider not playing those spreads. If the risk is to the downside, then same thing. And I'll play the opposite. So, me personally, I'm like, credit spreads to me, they're great, but I treat them very cautiously. I have a great deal of respect for them because they will smoke you. I'm not cavalier at all with credit spreads. to me, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it to put on, you know, if I'm looking at a dollar spread anywhere between, 10 contracts is $1,000, 20 contracts is 2,000. You get the picture. To get that amount of credit is not worth it for the risk of being challenged. Unless now, obviously, I can play the counter trade, I can hedge against it, but it takes so much brain power to hedge those positions when you get fully challenged that lately, the past couple months, I don't want to deal with it. All right, they're putting on 38.85 here. The juice is definitely not worth the squeeze. Yeah. Weekly credit spreads are great, not in this environment. I think there's too much risk for me to do this. Now, if you know what you're doing and you've got enough capital, then yeah, you can make that work because you could flip credit spread into a debit spread. You could lock in your losses. You can hedge with futures and options. You could do all that. You could do all sorts of stuff if you A, know what you're doing, and 2, you've got enough capital. But if you don't have enough capital or the know-how, then playing weekly credit spreads is a losing game. It's an awful way to generate income. Because the day will come where you will get challenged, you will not know what to do, nor will you will have the resources to defend, and you'll wipe out 6 months worth of profits. I'm telling you, it will happen. It will happen. You'll be chugging along. June will go great. July will go great. May will go, or August will go great. You'll be telling people, "Hey, I found a new way to generate income. Why am I even trading long options? I can just trade credit spreads." And that one day will come, and it'll wipe out everything. It'll wipe out your prior 6 months and then some. And you'll be like, "Oh, that's what people are talking about. That's why you don't trade credit spreads so aggressively." So it takes one move. One move. Yeah, it did happen to me already. Yeah, a couple of times. I had to tear it. Back in March, and we had a huge rally in March. You remember we went crazy amount. We climbed like 230 points in 48 hours, something like that. And I took a credit spread that was 2 days out, a call credit spread 2 days out, and it was 240 points above the current strike. Because I was trying to put on some extra income. I was like, there's no way the market's going to climb 240 points in 48 hours. And guess what? The market climbed 260 points. It went well. I got blasted. In order for me to defend that position, I had to put on long options, and I had to trade ES futures. In fact, I was long 5 ES contracts just to even make up for that. So I ended up losing. I think the net loss was somewhere around 16 grand on that, but it could have been a lot worse. But because I hedged, I greatly reduced the losses on that trade, big time. But the overarching theme of that is that if you're going to trade credit spreads, there's two parts to the credit spread. There's the credit spread itself, and there's the hedging that goes with it. If you're not thinking about the hedge, you're wrong. Even if you don't have to put on a hedge, you always should be thinking about the hedge. There's no such thing as credit spreads without hedges. VIX is climbing 24.96, and Apple's falling over, Amazon's falling over. There's no volume here, so the market's going to do whatever it wants at the moment. What catalysts are the banks seeing? They are rallying. Earnings, all bank earnings. I was kind of curious to see how credit spread would go poor last week, so I paper traded a 38.75 call credit spread minus 365. How big of one did you play? To get minus 365, you need to be playing like 40 contracts, if not more, depending on how wide you went. That's a ton. But yeah, you see. There are big losses. Are there any instances where the ES futures chart would be noticeably different than SPY? I mean, I'm sure there are instances, but not noticeably different. You'll see some deviations, but overall, it's going to be, peanut butter in my experience. Yeah, what Chris just said. He said if anyone's considering trading credit spreads, paper trade it for like 3 months. Make sure you see what a few losers do. In fact, that's what I try to get Patient Purple to do, and it ended up making money. I told him to take a paper trade credit spread on was it CPI or earnings, FOMC, one of the two, because I wanted it to get breached, so I could show you all what happens, and it made money. I was like, oh man, that didn't work out. So stupid FOMC. Hey, XLF just put in a new low of the day, so a lot of heaviness coming here in XLF. The financial sector rotated down, and we got this 38.90. So keep an eye. If we absorb this 38.90, maybe 38.80 will come into play. So yeah, one leg was breached. There you go. Credit spreads are very much an emotional trade too. You think long options bring in your emotions, but credit spreads definitely play on your emotions because of the extrinsic value. It starts to play the time value game on you. Yes, I'm down this much. Holy crapperoni! Look at that. Hold on a second. They just absorbed 38.90, and now we going down. XLF just dumped. Wow. All right, so now we're dropping. Now we drop. No, just light volume stuff. When you have this amount of light volume, any kind of influx of any side will move it. But no. In this light volume, if there's any news events, you'll see a 30, 40 point candle. So, but VIX, yeah, VIX went up to 24.93. XLF is still dropping. So now we breached low of the day. We came through R1. And try it out for S1 here. XLF, there's a lot of weakness in XLF. I'm taking a look here. The bonds really aren't moving. The yields are spiking up just a touch. That's a good trade. Obviously, the playing the last hour, you're going to have risk no matter what you play. So, but I don't play them that often. What are some things you look for before taking a day trade? One is direction. I need a high confidence direction for the market, and then volume. Volume is great because volume usually tells you where we're going. Yeah, I'm definitely looking for trades. But right now, not really much. There's not really much here. Even the credit spreads, I looked at credit spreads, like 39.30s were only paying $1, and that's a little too close for me. Obviously now that it worked out great because we fell. I assume you have a large account. Why not swing shares? Because the return with options are far greater than stocks. I mean, I do play stocks at my long-term account, but I'm not day trading stocks. I day trade options. The return on options are far greater than stocks. Coming back up, 38.92. This is one of those days that if you do not if you don't get in before, then do not enter a contract because it's choppy, choppy, choppy until we pick a direction. That's why it's so important to play at the levels. Yeah, everything is cheap. I mean, at the money contract in SPX right now, $12, $9 for $5 outside the money, $3 outside the money. You pay $9 for a contract. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Coming back up. All right, so they shifted liquidity around. They brought things down to 3,900 from 3,910. They still have a little bit at 3,910, but they shifted down from 3,900 down to 3,880. They removed 3,870. VIX is still pinned to 2,480. So, yeah, if the VIX can come down to lower 20s, I'll start looking at VIX calls. Why trade options over futures considering the 60-40 rule? Well, SPX. If you trade options on SPX, still the 60-40 rule. And there's no assignment risk on SPX. So SPX has all the benefits of futures. Obviously, futures doesn't deal with theta decay because you're dealing with futures. I trade both. I trade futures and SPX options. But futures requires more margin. Futures requires a lot higher notional value. And a lot more know-how. You can be destroyed trading futures. There's no end in sight if you take a loss on a futures and continue to bag hold a futures contract. There's a lot of pros and cons. That's why I play both. I don't think anyone should trade only futures. I don't think anyone should trade only options. I think there's a good blend. Learn how to trade credit spreads. Learn how to trade options. Learn how to trade futures, and trade all of them when the situation arises for it. The volume in the SPX options isn't high. No, I've never had trouble getting filled. If you're talking about, relatively close to the money contracts on SPX, I've never had trouble getting filled. I'm talking like plus or minus 30, 40, $50 even. Even 50 points outside the money, I've never had trouble getting filled. Now, if you're talking a weird non-expiration day that's like 2 months out, then yeah, maybe. Something like a random Tuesday or expiration, you may have trouble getting filled, but so yeah. Yeah, SPX is loaded with liquidity. That's one of the benefits of trading it. Is there a big supply zone at 39.10? Not big. The big macro view is 3,900. 3,900 is a huge resistance. We've been kind of testing it for the past 2-3 months. If we do manage to break under above 3,900, then we'll need to take out 3,950 to hold, give or take. So 3,900 is still large. Obviously, we're seeing it here. We came up in a pre-market and popped it, and it came on back down. It's funny, when I woke up this morning, I checked the TradingView chart on my phone, and I had it scaled back until last Thursday morning, and I saw that huge 100-point move from like 3740 to 3,900. I was like, holy crap, we moved 100 points overnight. And I was like, no, never mind. I had to zoom into today. But yeah, 3,900, we're right back to it, and we need to see how we're going to deal with 3,900 this week. Again, I'm going to keep on saying it this week. Low volume, uncertain direction until all the earnings comes out. Next week is going to be the big week. So this may be a week where you enjoy your real life until next week happens. How accurate is Bookmap? It's fantastically accurate. I do use it to determine trades, yes. Bookmap is incredible. In terms of a value-added tool, not a system, it's not my system, but a tool, Bookmap there's never been any one tool I've put on my account or in my system that has helped me more than Bookmap. It's incredible. It's a live liquidity tracker. I mean, it's perfect. DX feed and rhythmic. You're welcome. Yeah, Paperboy. There you go. 60-40. I love all the jokes with splits. It happens every time. Hey, Google's down 95%. Yeah, we get it. You did it with Amazon too. Is that how you get all the larger liquidity locations? I'm only using TradingView Bookmap and does load more than 30 points. Yeah, so that's why the Bookmap on the applications are different from the live standalone Bookmap. But yeah. Probably Cowboy. If Google sold off 95%, then I mean, imagine highlighting and deleting about 4% of the S&P. What would happen? If you just set 4% of the S&P to zero, or however much the Google is of S&P, I mean, you would tank. But yeah, there would be chaos. So Google is about, yeah, I was right. It's about 3.97%. Google's 3.97% of the S&P. It's about 4% between their class alphas and class bravos, or class Charlies. Oh yeah, yeah, W dog. No bueno. Did you start a small account? No, no. Small account challenges. I think about it all the time. I go back and forth with it, but I keep coming back to the fact that small account challenges usually are just nonsense. They're usually made for like social media blasts, and it's like, man, that's not what I'm here for. So right now I'm looking at a put credit spread, 38.50, 38.20, a 30 wide. They're currently going for $1.30, which is great credit. Oh my gosh. Well, The small account challenge that I would do wouldn't get very many likes and comments and all that crap and attention because I'd be doing it the way I'm doing it now. I'd be doing it small away. In fact, nothing would be different from what I'm doing currently. It would just be on a smaller dollar amount. So the percentages will still be the same. The trades would still be the same. The way I did everything would still be exactly the same. It would just be smaller dollar amounts. I wouldn't do YOLOs. I wouldn't do 50% position sizes. I wouldn't be doing lottos and all that crap. I am boring, yes. I am. I am boring. Boring though. All the wealthy people that I've talked to and learned from, they're all boring. Not one person still has. Not one person I've ever met with substantial wealth has, a 6-inch clock hanging from their chest and wear spinners on a Lamborghini. Like they don't drive. They drive 5 to 6 year old vehicles. They drive used vehicles. They have nice homes that are not extravagant. You know, I know a dude that owns like 4 apartment complexes and he owns a really nice house, but it's only like 3,500 square foot. And yes, I know only, but you would think that he's like in a 10 or 12,000 square foot home. But it's all about being conservative and being a conservative, financially conservative, and managing your finances appropriately. Yes, spicy Canadian. Yeah. There you go. Roy's in the chat. Ziggy. What are your thoughts on the day traders who trade Tesla and Amazon on the 1 minute? If it works for them, it works for them. I'm not gonna hate on anybody for their particular trading system. If it makes them money, then it makes them. There's 1,000 different ways to make money in this market. There's not one single system. It's all depends on what flavor of ice cream do you want to eat. Do you like my flavor of ice cream? Do you like someone else's? So, y'all know I'm crazy with the metaphors. Don't eat my ice cream. That's my ice cream. Just made it weird. Can you do the more 5 trades and if you have a cash account? Yeah, Zach. And here I'll go and tell everybody this, and I'll say it again. If you've got less than 25 grand, go right now and switch to a cash account. If you've got close to 25 grand, switch to a cash account. It's just not, you're missing out on so much potential by being on a margin account that it just doesn't matter. Now, if you want to trade all the other stuff, then yeah, I get it. But to me personally, I think you need to focus on strengthening your long options game and getting your account balance up before you start switching over to a margin account. That way, if you have 1 or 2 bad weeks and you drop below it, then you have to deal with margin, like the margin. You got to deal with PDT and all this crap. It's a bunch of, and then you're limited to three trades a week. And it's like, man, it's terrible. What's your dream home? Honestly, I'm a land guy. I could live in a 1,200 square foot home as long as it's on like a bunch of land. I'm a land guy. I could care less about a home. I spend most of my time is spent outside when I'm not trading, obviously. That I could care less about a home. But if I had to say something, an outdoor kitchen. If I had an outdoor kitchen with an outdoor like area where I could do outdoor, like I could put a hammock up outside in the back and have like a outdoor kitchen area and like where I could kick my feet up and light a fire, that type of thing. But I don't really care about inside. Yeah, large homes are greatly overrated, incredibly overrated. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's been there. It's grown up a little bit, that 3880, but it's been there. That 3900 is getting a little bigger. How did I get my charts like that? You're talking about on TradingView right here? Yeah, if you go up to this little icon right here, you can click. You can select all your different layouts. Granted, I have the premium subscription on TradingView. Um, he's at 6, but he's got a TradingView premium subscription. Yeah, so I go with this one here. So you could choose one, divide it up, you can go as many as you like. I want Lee Red to cook OM breakfast in bed. Yeah, so this is definitely untradeable. Who said something about my credit spreads? I think it was Patient Purple. What did he say about my credit spreads? How would you prioritize which tools to purchase for which of the smaller accounts, whether TradingView? I think you absolutely need TradingView. I think that's a must. Just from charting and doing chart analysis and learning patterns and price analysis, I think you need TradingView or another tool that's just as good as TradingView. I haven't used anything else, so I can't speak to that. I've only used TradingView. And trust me, I was a guy that only traded on my brokerage charts. Like I used to be trading only on E-Trade, trading only on other brokerages. In fact, one of the reasons I did on Webull is so I could trade the crypto charts on there. But then once I got TradingView, I was like, man, this is like, getting your eyesight back. A long straddle, Che, not a. I mean, a short straddle, yes. Long straddle, no. But obviously, unless you're slinging millions of dollars, you're going to have to do an iron condor, not a short straddle. Strangle. Yeah, so the deltas are flat. The deltas aren't moving, which means there's no participation. Do I invest in crypto? I have before. I don't actively. I've traded both Bitcoin and Ethereum back in when the huge rage was going on in early or late 20 and early 21. I traded some. I made a little money off of them, nothing crazy. I bought it. I bought it like I bought Bitcoin at like 31 and sold it at like 49 or 39, give or take. I have to go back and look at the numbers. And I bought Ethereum in the 1500s and sold in the 1800s, like nothing. So obviously, if I would have held those, it would have been amazing. But I didn't. I didn't know enough about them. Do I base your volume analysis on previous day's volume? Yes. So it's all relative. For me, volume is all relative. I look at volume on the current day, the current week, the current month, the current year. Like I zoom out and I do analysis based on, hey, this is the lowest volume in 6 months, or this is the highest volume in 6 months, or this is the highest volume of the week. And it's all relative. So, and what that allows me to do is monitor the influx and outflow of volume. So if I see volume coming into the market, that tells me there's a move being made or a supportive move being made. And if I see volume leaving the market, that tells me that the move is nearing the end of its run, or we're about to move away from a consolidation era period. So, is there a term for a PCS like a vertical? Yeah, it's a vertical spread. Put vertical spread would be another one, but or a vertical put spread. How does E-Trade they do yeah, put vertical is the way E-Trade calls it. I don't know, Kaylee. I don't know. They could be long. They could be short. Or a bull put spread. There you go. Most important markets to pay attention to, I should say, are Japan's third biggest. Yeah. Yeah. No. Alpha. No. Oh, you're welcome, Dallin. Thanks for listening. Yeah, the new podcast, new YouTube video will be released this week. So, me personally, you'll notice that there's an underlying theme about the podcast because I don't want the podcast to be the same thing as YouTube. YouTube is very educational, it's very technical, it's very informational based. I want the podcast to be more along the lines of having a discussion about mentality, about trading, about life, about finances, about personal finance, all that stuff. So you'll see there's an underlying tone in the podcast that is motivation based, it's based on personal development because I consume a lot of material that's personal development about motivation, about discipline. And the big thing for me is like finding your purpose over your pleasure. Like, what is your purpose? In fact, one of the chapters in the book I'm writing is based on what is your purpose for trading. If your only purpose in trading is just simply to make money and that's it, then you're not going to do well because when you do start to face losses, you're going to bounce. You're going to be out. So what's your overarching theme? Same thing. If you're trying to lose weight, if the reason why you want to get fit and lose weight is simply just to lose weight, then you're probably not going to be all that successful. Because if you're someone like me who loves sweets and is like loves ice cream, then you're like once the cravings come back, you're going to start pounding ice cream like it's nobody's business. So for me, I want to be able to play with my kids when I'm 50. I want to be able to go to my kids' high school games, and I want to be able to lift up my grandkids. I want to still be fit because I think personally the fountain of youth is muscle production. Muscle development, I think, is the fountain of youth. You go look at an 80-year-old grandma who's like fit and healthy and has muscular development, and you go look at an 80-year-old grandma who's never touched a weight. Two different people, and the same thing. So what is your why? And I think that'll help you being a driving factor in being successful. What's the name of the podcast? The name of the podcast is Making Millionaires. Making Millionaires. I'll post a link to it in the YouTube. There you go. All right, big red candle. 3-point red candle, I'm sorry. I've lost 25 pounds in 4 months. I decided to do it because I don't want to be unhealthy. I want to live to see my grandkids. I love it, hero. It's a beautiful way. It's a beautiful thing to do, yeah. Well done, though. 25 pounds is awesome. That's a great way to do it, too. Nice and slow. How far out in days do you buy your calls and puts? It depends. Zeros, ones, threes. It depends. Sometimes I do 3 week, 4 week. Yeah, go look at people at your 30-year high school reunion, or in my case, coming up on 20-year. So, you sure you're not on TED Talk? I'm not on TED Talk. I'd love to be, but I'm definitely not qualified to be on TED Talk. I have to have about, like $20 billion more dollars to do that stuff. Or going off to pilot school, going off to 2-year pilot training when I've got kids at home. Like, that's terrible. Being in the military, like, what's my driving force? So my kids could look up to something. Say, hey, my dad, he's financially sound. He grew a couple of businesses. He was an Air Force pilot. He's in shape. Like, he had all of his T's are crossed and I's are dotted in life. So I've got, I want to leave a legacy to my kids. That's more than just money. Nice, Damien. 35 pounds since the beginning of the year. Well done. Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment. Losing weight in this environment, especially like I've been tracking my macros on MyFitnessPal the past couple weeks, and I'm down a good amount, by the way, but 7 pounds. Tracking your macros, it shows you how terrible the American diet is because it's so easy. I mean, you go like we went to Sonic to grab a diet cherry limeade from Route 44 Sonic, and like I'm looking at the menu at the calories, and like one meal is 1,800 calories. That's one meal. So the normal American diet destroys people, and they don't realize like a normal, 5 or 6 thousand calorie diet a day, which is easy to do in this environment, destroys people. Yeah, ingredients. Yeah. Yeah, work back shop F-15s. Yeah, Air Force clutch. Nice. Very cool. F-15s are a beast. I'm 53 and I run a custom cabinet company. Nice. Awesome stuff. I love woodworking. Physical job. My wife and I are the same age, same fitness. We were both able to run miles. Very cool. Nice, John. Ever track sodium? Yes and no. I'm looking at in fact, I looked at, I've been looking at the sodium intake on my fitness pal the past couple of days, and it's egregiously high. That's difficult to do. In fact, it's easier for me to bring sugar down than it is sodium. It's like everything's got a crap ton of sugar, especially health foods that have got to put a lot of sodium in it just to taste good. It's crazy. Good stuff today. Very interesting book map. Nice. Nice, Charlie. Yeah, book map's fantastic. Fantastic. They got 38.90 pinned on there now. Nice, Chad. 25 pounds this year. Awesome. I love it, man. Good stuff. Best that I did was 4x4 in and out. Walk 1 mile. Nice. Favorite non-stock investment book? The favorite book I ever read, well, I don't know, it depends. The biggest impact emotionally and fundamentally I've ever read was Strong Father, Strong Daughters, because I'm a girl dad. I've got 2 boys too, but I got a girl as well. But when I read that book, it knocked me off my feet. Like that's the only book that ever like made me tear up, and I'm not someone who really cries. So strong father, strong daughter, strong fathers. If you are a father of a daughter, then you need to read this book. You absolutely need to read this book. It really shows you the impact you have over your daughter and what your role in raising her looks like. And I actually have another book too for sons. Let me get it. Raising Men is a good one. Here, let me take a picture of it. I'll show you. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. Fantastic book if you are a father of a boy. Nice, nice. Yeah, this is definitely not tradable unless you're trading spreads. I didn't take the trade, Jess. I didn't take the spread. But if I do take one, yes, I'll post it for sure. Yeah, Dallin, I agree, but I won't get into that conversation. I was thinking about doing another pod. I was thinking about, because I have such a strong passion about this, you see, and we often go on tangents when the market's not really tradable. I'm thinking about doing another podcast called The Alpha. It'll be a non-trading related, because I've learned a lot growing up with a father who's incredibly toxic and kind of living my life and developing my life on my own, basically reading motivational material. So I'm thinking about doing an additional podcast on the side that's non-trading related about what truly is an alpha male. Because we talk about what is an alpha male. Is it the dude that, you know, gets in fights at the bar, who beats his chest and thinks he's a bad mofo? Or is it the silent warrior, the dude that, is a good person, who tells it like it is, looks you in the eye, that kind of person? I've got a lot of notes about it, but I don't know, tinkering with it. A true alpha male is not what most people think it is. It's not what a true alpha male would really think it is. And I think the family really needs a true alpha male these days. Are you looking for lower volume to take a spread? No. No. In fact, I'm actually pretty close. I might look at taking a PCS here shortly. So, I'm 20 years old. I'm going to community college, and I have a desire to become an entrepreneur. Any advice? Yes, Jonah. That's a great position. For me, I have a very entrepreneurial mind. I was not someone I could not swallow the thought of being caged in a cubicle the rest of my life. I just couldn't do it. Having said that, do not be afraid to get yourself into a job. Like you need income, you need a job, you need a career to start out with. You can't just go off into entrepreneurship. So you need to get yourself a job and to start building cash flow. The first thing is the very basic personal finance. You have to focus on personal finance and don't get yourself in consumer debt. Avoid consumer debt of all costs. That's the first thing. Your goal is to reduce your income. Reduce your expenses, reduce your consumer debt by all costs, and develop as much income as you can, and save as much money as you can. Then you start looking at what marketable skills do you have, Jonah? Like Hugh, what are your marketable skills? Hold on a second, we got some red candles coming in. Back down to 38.90, and then 38.80. Man. So, yeah, find yourself some mentors. And whatever field you're going into, you need to start networking. That's the big thing. You can't do it on your own. So if you want to be an electrician, you need to start networking with contractors, home builders, electricians, permits, the government, the local government, the inspectors. If you want to be a real estate agent, or if you want to be an investor in real estate, you need to start networking with real estate agents. You have to be a people person, because in my experience, if you are a douche, or if you're not someone anyone wants to work with, or if you don't have any help, you're never going to make it. You have to network. So those are the two big things, or three things I should say: personal finances, finding your marketable skill, and then networking. Oh, thanks, Darwin. Appreciate that. Hey, y'all are awesome, man. Let me get it for you. Hold on. I want to make sure, because I can't. Let me see here. I don't have it currently because I gave it away. I gave it to a guy that needed it. And that I'm always a big proponent of passing forward books. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, if you are a father to a daughter, I would highly encourage that. Highly encourage. Right there. Nice, John. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And always, hey, and another thing, Jonah, is always be open to learning. If you think you know everything, then you're wrong. If you're ever the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Always be open to learning. The two words that I hate my kids saying more than anything, like I tell them all the time, I do not want to hear these words, is I know. If they're being taught something from a coach or from me or from their mom or whatever, and they say I know, I'm like, nope, you don't know. And I want to teach them to be open to learning. Nice, chillaxing. Yeah, amazing. Your daughter, you're a dad too for a daughter. Very cool. Beautiful family. Oh, you read the book. Nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful book. Yeah, so coming down here at 38.90. Just give a little update on the charts here. I know we're talking a lot about stuff here. Got 38.87, 38.80, 3900 above. Nice, John. Yeah, you'll love it. What is the best way to get into real estate for beginners? Should I consider Airbnb? No, do not do Airbnb right off the bat. If I were you, look at high quality single home residentials that are in a good neighborhood. Don't go into Airbnbs yet. One, because it's a lot to it. Two, because there's a lot of legislation potential against Airbnbs. So the future is going to be iffy for Airbnbs. You're welcome, Brennan. I actually sold my home to a buddy of mine who's renting it out now as an Airbnb. Renting it him immediately. Oh, cool. Nice, hero. It's awesome. I mean, that's a huge thing, man. That's a huge thing. To lose weight is a huge accomplishment. What's your current outlook on SPY for a couple of days? This. I think it's a lot of this for the next couple of days until we get. We might move a little bit on Tesla earnings as they'll start to see. All right, one of the depending on what Tesla does, maybe the other ones will do that. We'll start to get some sentiment come in, and then next week we'll really move. So I think this week will be kind of a choppy session, waiting for next week to come along. Cool, thanks. Have you done the thing of closing your short leg on a spread instead of closing the whole spread? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's so important to trade to trade conservative widths on spreads. So people who are trading 100 wide spreads, like that's not really going to help you. What you just said, Mohammed. So you need to trade 15, 20, 30 wide spreads so you can take advantage of that long leg. Oh, good, Jukebox. Yeah, I got to do the research on that, but good. I wonder why Canada skyrocketed like that. That's a case study to look into. Nice, Sharon. I'm looking down there as well. Yeah, Joan out. If you're still here, I'll give you one more piece of advice too. For me, college, if I could go back, because I went to a major SEC school, um, and I worked my butt off. So I had minimal student loans that I paid off the first year I was out of college. But if there's something big I could really, if I could go back and do it again, I would go to a local cheap community college and do as many classes could. If like the first 2 years you just knock out all your, you knock out all your basic stuff, and then you get into what you need to do, and then I would choose a school to go to and pay for it. But still, not doing student loans, I would pay for it out of pocket by working. So community college the first 2 years, and then do that. Then go to your college of course, because I'll go and tell you, and I've never been asked where I went to school in an interview, nor have I been asked my GPA. Although obviously, yes, the Air Force needed to know that, but no one cares unless you're going to an Ivy League school for medical or some sort of specialty. You don't need to do that. Sweet. What do you make of this low volume? We're waiting. We're waiting for next week. Plus, it's summertime, so tomato flames. How do you know about tomato flames? He must be a pilot. Oh, nice win. Awesome. Fly a lot of diamonds. Diamond 20s. What'd you get? Cessnas or diamond 20s? Those are usually the two big ones in college. Yeah, so we got a little green coming in here. 38.93. I actually personally haven't seen any UFOs, no. My wife got a master's degree, hasn't worked. Oh, nice. And Mrs. OM has a master's degree as well. And now she's assistant to the OM. Yeah, she's a smart cookie, man. I married up. Looks and smarts. I married up. Just want to say your education series on YouTube has really helped me understand option trading. Oh, cool. 15 years old. Very cool, George. Man, if you're 15 and you're doing option trading, you are way ahead of the curve. Well done. And welcome. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, I wouldn't. A lot of people are, they say college is a waste. I don't think it's a waste. I went to college and it opened up a lot of doors for me. So I would actually agree with pretty much everything you just said. My thinking is I would highly encourage people to be a tradesman. You write your own ticket. You can make as much money as you want as long as you're motivated and you do quality work and you show up on freaking time. But yeah, go to college. Just get you a basic business degree. You don't need anything fancy. Just go get a basic business degree and then start a trade. Do it the cheapest way possible. Community college. Go to online school. That kind of stuff. Me personally, I do electrician. My father-in-law has been an electrician for 40 years, and I've seen that dude make more money than you possibly can imagine. And he's a two-man shop, one man. He grew up just a one-man shop. His dad did it, he did it. But you know why? Because he's a nice dude. He looks in the eye while he shakes your hand. He tells the truth. He shows up early, and he gets the job done quick. So if you can do those things and do high quality work and know the codes and not have to get re-inspections and get all the inspections passed on the first go, bada boom, man, you do good work and you'll make as much money as you want. Welding, 200K a year. Yeah, I was a welder in high school for the FFA. Welded a 16-foot gooseneck trailer in high school. That's right, John. Yeah. Computer geek, there you go. Computer skills are fantastic in this day and age. I've been trying to option trade for a few months now on and off. I'm 18 and I want experience. How do I get options experience without losing all the small amounts of money I have? Well, Xavier, unfortunately, part of the learning, part of the experience is losing money. There's no way around it. Even when you're killing it, you're still going to make losing trades. The number one piece of advice I would give you is to use small position sizing. Paper trade until you get used to like the brokerage and stuff, but unfortunately, paper trading is not going to truly teach you experience because I can make $10 million paper trading, but the second that you turn the money on, those returns come way down, obviously, because you involve experience. You involve your emotions, you involve your emotional ties to your money. You're not going to hold the loss. You're not going to hold through whatever. So paper trading to test exactly. And then start out very, very, very small position sizing with real money. I mean micro. Like if you've got $100 account, you find a contract that you pay $10 for, and you learn how things move. %, 95% of this whole thing. It doesn't matter the book map, the spot gamma, the tools, the lines, the SR levels, all of it. 95% of this whole thing is your mind, the emotions. There's a billion different ways to trade. There's a whole bunch of different strategies, intellects, indicators, analysis. There's a billion different ones. But it all boils down to who you are as a trader, who you are as a person. I promise you, I did very well on my AFOQT. Don't get me wrong. I maxed out 100% the aviation test. Other than that, my grades are not stellar. I'm talking upper C's, lower B's. I was an upper C, lower B student my whole life, so I'm not brilliant, but I'm disciplined, and that's the difference. So that's all it is. You don't have to be smart to do this. Larry, your daughter was a daughter accountant. She graduated accounting degree. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Xavier, for listening to the podcast. I appreciate that. Hey, OM, is there a good paper trade tool you would recommend? I couldn't tell you honestly. I've never really paper traded. I never started out doing that, so I couldn't really tell you. I had a 2.7 GPA in high school in the Air Force pilot looking for 3.75. That was an 87. Yeah. They loosened that restriction based on their needs. Right now, we're incredibly low on pilots, so I think they'd take a 2.7 as long as you have a good background. I'm a CPA and I'm miserable. Accounting is terrible. I recommend it. Yeah. I agree with you, Jaycon. I graduated college with an accounting degree, and I got a job as a prospective CPA while I was taking the CPA exam, and I hated my life. Literally, I graduated, I got a job, I was excited. I was like, man, I'm a big CPA. I had my suit and tie. I sat down at the desk, and within like 48 hours, I was like, this, I have made a colossal mistake. I immediately regret this decision. Now, I say that lightly because all of my in laws are accountants. Like, not my in laws, I guess you should say. My wife's sister, my wife's other sister, my wife's brother in law, they're all CPAs. And they're all very good at CPAs. So, and they're all part of the Discord. So, you know, if you hear me, I love you. Exactly, Damon. Fuel the jet. That's a number one. That's probably the big thing in becoming wealthy is marrying rich. LLC, Goomba. But I'm thinking about switching over to an S corp. I'm in talks with my accountant about that. Why did you not enjoy being a CPA? For me personally, I don't have the personality or I'm not the type of person who could sit there in a cubicle and crunch numbers all day. I can't do that. I at least have to be something physical. I have to be active. I have to give something that's like I'm a risk taker. Like I climb up to the top of cliffs and stuff and jump off. Like I'm that type of person. I just can't sit there and have the safe, boring CPA job. It's just not who I am. Some people it works perfectly for their personality. For me, it just wasn't for me. My circle of trust. Oh, nice, Jemerson. Yeah, that's the stuff I need to get better at. Is the high level, uh, clever management stuff in terms of managing corporations. That's why I have a good CPA. Hey, thanks, Ray. Go to Mars. Appreciate that. Supporting the community through super chats. Thank you very much. Let me know if I can answer any questions for you. What's your opinion on the strat indicator? I enjoyed the strat. I looked into the strat a little bit just to see if it can gain me any edge. I I I respect the setup. I respect the strat. I respect that one more than a lot of others because it's based on price action. It's cut and dry. It's got simple to read rules, and it's based on price action. I do incorporate some of that into my thoughts. It doesn't come in anywhere near my analysis, but yeah, I respect it. Let's say I would come across a large sum of money. What do you suggest I do with that money to support the future? Google Cayman Islands. No, I'm just joking. So, if you are someone who did not, who is financially illiterate, which means you don't have a lot of experience with money, nor do you have a large sum of money, and all of a sudden you come into a large sum of money, the first thing I would do is park that money in a savings account for about a month. Park it and think. Uh, I wouldn't even start going off paying off a bunch of debt. Like I would park it and I would not touch it, and think about what you want to do next. About what's your current status. Like, do you have a lot of consumer debt? What's the current economic conditions? And it depends how much money you're talking about. I would park it and think for about a month. And then outside of that, it depends. It depends on how much consumer debt you have. It depends on how much, uh, if you have any experience doing anything else, where you are in life. And then I would start thinking about, and that's definitely from there, it would go into one or two paths: pay off consumer debt or invest. Now, I don't mean pay off your mortgage because there are some times where I'd rather you invest the money than pay off your mortgage. I'm talking about consumer debt, like car loans, credit card debt, stuff that's going to destroy you. Um, So there's two paths: pay off consumer debt, or then start investing, whether it be real estate, stock, slow growth stocks, mutual funds. I would not do any options trading with it. I don't recommend taking any amount of money that you've gotten quickly and putting it in options trading. Because here's the deal: if you are a beginning options trader and somebody walks up, or maybe you have someone pass away in your family and leaves you $1 million, just because you take that $1 million and put it in your options trading account doesn't mean you are a $1 million option trader. That you did not build that money from option trading. You were given that money, and that money will go to zero, and you will lose every bit of it. So I do not recommend putting that money in option trading. I would recommend, if you are going to do something like that, is like take a couple years and build your account up, and then slowly trickle that money in as you become used to it. But I would definitely not recommend putting any quickly gained money into the option trading. I'd put it in slow growth, long-term investing vehicles like mutual funds or real estate. Buy SPY. Yeah, I own a lot of SPY and a lot of Qs. Exactly, Mobile Mitch. Yeah. Oh yeah, paying off the mortgage is a huge thing. In fact, I think it's a major uh, milestone in life because that sets you free. Murphy is the big thing, and a lot of people. We've had this discussion here before, and other people said paying off your mortgage is a terrible idea. I completely disagree with that. Because when you say paying off your mortgage is a terrible idea, you completely disregard risk. Because risk management is just as important in your personal finances as it is in option trading. Because risk is huge. Look at I have someone I associate with in my personal life who just obviously his wife just went through a terrible medical diagnosis, and she just passed away a couple of days ago, so that's terrible. But they had to sell everything to pay for her medical because they are overburdened with all their debt. So from paying off your home, paying off your mortgage protects you from Murphy. That's why when you make a statement like paying off your home is a terrible financial decision because you could invest that money, you completely disregard risk in your personal life. What happens if you get a bad medical diagnosis? What happens if your boss walks up to you and fires you from your $200,000 a year job? What happens if the economy goes out of 2008 and tanks? So I'm a big proponent of paying off your mortgage. Do you know how little income you can live off of if you have absolutely no debt, no mortgage? You could live like a king on $60,000 a year if you had absolutely no debt. Yeah, renting sucks, but nice, Christina, amazing. Yeah, paying off for your 40s, amazing. So bonds are coming off aggressively here. Did they just have an auction? They just dropped at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So with the bonds moving off like this, I'll be looking to see how XLF moves, and I'll kind of make my determination of how the bonds are going to affect the market. Question about a credit spread. If you are selling to open, are you selling both legs? If you're selling to open, are you selling both legs of the spread to the same person? You don't know. It doesn't matter. That's a question about liquidity providers. Who is a liquidity provider? Who are the liquidity providers? So no, you're not necessarily selling it to the same person. You're just buying those contracts. You're writing those contracts. For every contract bought or sold, there's someone on the other side of that transaction doing the opposite. Liquidity provider. Who's providing that liquidity? I was talking to a retired colonel about her real estate. She said do 15-year mortgage, 20% down for each house. Thoughts? I agree. If you could afford to do that, yeah, highly agree. Go look at a mortgage amortization schedule and look at how much you pay on a 15-year mortgage compared to a 30-year. You're literally paying double the value of the home just in interest on a 30-year mortgage if you pay it throughout the entire 30 years, obviously. So I would definitely recommend doing a 15-year over 20-year or 30-year. Or you could do a 30-year and pay it off like a 15 to give you some wiggle room. But you're welcome, Tyler. Do you recommend after getting out of college renting for as long as you can or buy a cheaper home? Renting has its use as a tool. If you are someone for one reason or other who just cannot get into a home, whether credit report or something, obviously you have to rent. But if you are able to buy a home, then do that. Do not rent. Renting is a tool. It's not made to do that long term. Because you need to start building equity. You need to purchase that home and buy it and pay it off. Pay off student debt first or mortgage first. Depends how much student debt you have. Student debt is a huge, huge pandemic right now. XLF is testing lows of the day. Amazon's testing high of the day. Amazon's neutral. How do you feel about financing a car, pay cash if possible? Absolutely pay cash if possible. Pay cash as possible. Nice red candles here. Every car I've bought 4 cars in my lifetime. The first one was 20 years old. The second one was 8 years old, and the third one was 4 years old, and the fourth one was brand new. I bought a brand new 2018 Tundra, but I could literally buy a used one for almost just as much. All right, we're coming down, testing lows of the days on ES here. Look at XLF. So now someone asked me, how do I read the bonds? The bonds are dropping here, and XLF is dropping along with it. So a little selling action coming here in the market as we test lows of the day. Would I buy a house right now or see how the recession goes? Timing the housing market is difficult. It depends on what you intend to do. If you intend to hold for 30 years or whatever, then there's a statement in the real estate community saying the best time to buy real estate was 6 years ago. So in 6 years from now, you're not really going to care. All right, where it looks like we may test lows of the day here and pop through. You're right, Larry. Yep. I attribute a lot of my success to the fact that I went about 6 years in my life without one single cent of debt. Not car debt, not mortgage, no nothing. No student debt, nothing. Not a single cent. And it's amazing how much wealth you're able to accumulate doing that with no debt. Would it be smart to rent a house or just do minor work and put the house on the market? Well, you're talking about flipping homes. I've done both. I've flipped homes, and flipping homes is a lot of work and a lot of money. They're cash pits, especially if things don't go right. If you have to hire all the work out to flip, to renovate, then your margins are going to be super tight, super thin. If you could do all the work yourself, you're going to give yourself a little more wiggle room. Amazon Big Green. Just for future reference, I'm taking PCSs. Are you waiting for European close? Man, I wouldn't say that. I am looking to take them. Normally, when I take credit spreads, I'm looking to take them the first 40 minutes of the day. After the first 40 minutes of the day. I just did decide not to take them today. I just don't, Maybe we'll take them tomorrow. I want to see how today goes, and then I'll take more tomorrow. I don't. I don't have any thoughts on that. They, Lockheed reports today, tonight, tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah. No thoughts. Probably down if I had to guess. Here's the thing, though. Gas, in my neck of the woods at least, gas is down $1 off of what it was last month. So I may think the CPI next month posts lower just because of they're starting to manipulate some of the oil energy prices. However, there's a huge energy crisis going on right now, both in the Midwest and in Europe. If you look at Europe, they're having a massive heat wave. And from my understanding, not a lot of people in Europe have air conditioning units. Is that true? But Texas, like the HVAC units in Texas are being overwhelmed. So there's definitely an energy crunch coming here for Europe and the Midwest. Wow, that's terrible. The prices of natural gas are going through the roof right now. Jeez Louise. They said it was like 95 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning in Dallas. Yeah, I mean, AC units are not made to handle 110-degree heat. It's just terrible. And don't people in what's that? Arizona? Don't they have the suction systems in their homes? Like there's not an air conditioning unit, but there's a huge fan, a water cooled fan on the roof that like sucks all the heat out, something like that. Swamp coolers, yeah. Because it's so hot, the AC units would be destroyed out there. Something like that. I don't know. I heard that. I don't know. Oklahoma 107 tomorrow. Wow. All AC in Arizona? Okay. I was incorrect then. That's why I live in the mountains. Name checks out. How would I interpret this? Last Friday there were several. Yeah. So the overarching theme the past month has been larger flows and outside the money puts going into September and August. So obviously the market is anticipating downside in that realm. Now a lot of people say those could be hedges, those could be, uh, spreads and all that stuff, but not if the overarching volume is down there. I would tell you, most of you, I would say 90% of retail traders right now do not need to be trading. And I mean the past 3 weeks and probably the next couple of weeks, except for next week. Wait until the low volume summer environment moves, and then we'll start ramping it up again. The deltas are dead flat. Literally, this is probably the lowest. This is probably the lowest participation I've seen in this year. This has just been. There's no delta participation. There's no volume. There's no price action. It's just meh. Nice, James. Where at? Which part? They use a lot of passive cooling. They have natural ventilation. Oh, cool. Yeah. You don't think Tesla will beat? Well, you would think that, Balancy. It's just the fact that the barrier to entry Tesla is too high. So it's not like the average American can go to the pumps and say, "Hey, I don't want to pay $4 a gallon, so I'm going to go sell my vehicle and go buy a Tesla." It's not. It's not as simple. It's not like we're talking about a $3 item here. We're talking about a $35,000 to $40,000 vehicle. So although in the long term that may be a good thesis, but I do not think that the short term will be affected like that. Yeah, yeah. All right, so European market closes in 5 minutes. I don't know if we'll move too much from that, but we'll see. Doesn't Allison live in Etowah? 38.91. Yeah, so we'll hang out here. A couple minutes here. If you have any questions about anything, we'll keep talking. I know we've been talking a lot of off-topic stuff today, but that's the market. I have dried encrusted branched chain amino acids all over my office because I tried to mix it with carbonated water and it exploded. All right, Amazon is about to break high of the day here, so keep an eye on Amazon. They're up 2.5%. Meta is up 2.2%. European market is green. Yes, they're up 0.65. Germans are up 0.5. Oh, nice. What model? Oh, yeah, I love the 17. 17 is a great model. So, but the 17L, long barrel. Where is Spindrift? I haven't seen him today. I'm trying to wrap my head around spot gamma, and it's not clicking. Can you explain the information they provide that's so valuable? Yeah, sure. So what they're offering is a tracker for the delta flow. So what happens when you buy a call, that is positive delta. When you buy a put, that's negative delta. Puts are negative delta, calls are positive delta. Why? Because when the market goes down, puts get more expensive. When the market goes up, calls get more expensive, positive and negative delta. So when you start, and the blue and orange line, and I'll show you, I'll post a screenshot just for reference. The blue line is positive delta. The orange line is negative delta. When you see a huge spike in positive delta, you could assume that people are either buying calls or shorting puts. And shorting put is a bullish position. If you see a spike in negative delta, you could anticipate that people are buying puts or shorting calls. Shorting calls is a bearish position. And although it's not as simple and black and white as that, it allows us to monitor the delta flows to give an indication of where the market may or may not go. So if I see an anomaly where there's a huge spike in positive delta right before an event such as Friday, then I'm going to jump into a call. Or if I see the market is dropping and then after it drops it consolidates, and as that's happening, everyone is flowing into positive delta, then I could assume that the people are going to buy that dip. And it'll help us identify V recoveries, help us identify reversals, and etc. And admittedly, one of my weaknesses is identifying a V recovery on a bearish day as one of my weaknesses. And this is going to help me do that. I can identify upside down V's on a bullish day. I can identify trend up, trend downs, and chop. One of my weaknesses is identifying a strong bull recovery on a very, very bearish day. When we hit that demand zone that completely bounces and reverses. Thoughts about swinging Tesla and Amazon calls? May not be a terrible idea. Um, I don't know. I'm not really inclined to swing anything this week, but Chris, when you say take strikes with higher delta than theta, does it mean? I don't mean that. I mean if the theta is going to overcome delta, what I mean is like this. Right now, if you took an option trade, the theta on a 0 DTE is going to start overcoming your delta, meaning you're not going to get the movement for delta to pay you more than theta is going to take away. That's what I mean. So I don't mean go into the option chain and just take a trade that the delta is higher. I mean that in a day like today, theta is going to overcome all 0 DT positions before you get a move. All right, so the UK market is now closed. And here's the pattern I've got identified for today. How long have you used the hero? I've been back testing it for about 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm not, it's not my right hand yet. Like Bookmap is, I'm well versed with Bookmap, but I'm still getting used to hero. It's a newer indicator for me. Amazon just broke high of the day. No, they didn't. They came close. Did they? No, they tied it. So now they broke high of the day. There you go. Amazon is popping. Do you think there's any possibility Amazon can bear a buck the bear trend by 16th? My way outside the money calls have been a ball and chain. What's the strike? I assume they're September 16th calls. What's the strike on them? All right, we're breaking out of the wedge. September 16th, 130 calls. It depends on it. It depends on earnings. Earnings is either going to be your savior or your final nail in the coffin. Earnings are the only way that we're getting up that high. If they blast amazing earnings, which you have to remember, these are Q2 earnings, and Q2 ended in June. So this is not current earnings. The forward-looking guidance will be your downfall or your savior. Yes, Phil. Yeah, I can do it. Here's a zoomed out view of Amazon right now. What? Yes, Vex, I do recommend using VWAP. I'm inclined to throw a call down here. With Amazon doing like this and with the XLF basing at the day's lows. Yeah. Amazon went straight up, man. 115 and 116, almost 117. So, but I think I'm going to call that a morning, peeps. There ain't much going on here, and I'm sure you don't want to hear me ramble on. We're at 38.94. I'll give it. Watch out for 3,900. Hold on to your butts. We got XLF is at 32. Tesla's at 748. Apple's coming up. Amazon has got like 20 straight green candles. So, yeah. No, not right now. I'll let you know if I do. I didn't see that. No. Yeah, so a good conversation. I know we talked a lot about other stuff than trading, but I love talking about that stuff. So, and helping. Let me know if you have any questions. Hit me up on the DMs in the Discord if you have any additional questions about any content you've heard, any questions about the option chain, any questions about the charts. I'll be happy to help. So, looks like we may be getting close to a call entry potentially. We'll see. Still very low volume though. I'll let you know if I get anything. Y'all take it easy. Have a good rest of the day. Play small position size if you're going to trade anything because theta is going to whap you. It's going to whap you. So I'll see you later in the afternoon for our afternoon stream. I'm out. So you.